Welcome back to another episode. I'm Florian Venom Kohler, professional pool trick shot artist, but also league operator for APA in Las Vegas. Today, we're going to try to cover what it takes to go from a 6 to a skill level 7. Let's get right into it, guys. Jeffrey H. wrote us the following: decision making, not shot making. 100% agreed on that because, as a skill level 6, you have a lot of tools in your arsenal already. You know how to draw, you know how to follow, you know how to play position, you know how to bank, you know how to kick. So we're not here to teach you fundamentals. I mean, that won't change anything. Your fundamentals are already there. And you know you can run a table once in a while. You know you can make several balls in a row. You know how to play safe. So the question is really what takes you to the next level. And I truly believe this is pattern play and decision making. Now, unfortunately, there is no perfect recipe to teach that. So the best way I could come up with is we're going to start with a rack of 8 ball, open the rack, talk through every shot, see what should be done, what should not be done, do the same thing for 9 ball, and then finish with a bunch of key pointers plus a drill, and go from there. 8 ball rack, so I'm going to break. I use top left on my break here. Let's see what happened. Hopefully the cue ball stays sort of in the middle. Okay, it's a little too much follow. But made a couple balls. So let's see what I made first. Perfect, I made a stripe and a solid. So this is actually the best for APA as far as our rule goes because now the table is still open. So one of each. Let's look at the layout. All right, so first point of view here is I like the stripes here. This stripe is going, this one is going, this one is going, this one is going here, this one's going there, and the 13 goes either here or here. So ideally, I really want my stripes, but hold on a second here. Do I have a shot on the stripes? I don't think so, because now if I'm looking at the 9 ball, yeah, I can see it. It's going to be very tricky, very dangerous. Worst case scenario, I might even hit the 11 here and make a mess out of it. So I can't start with any of those balls. That's not good. Can I start with the 13? Let's see. This is possible, but again, I'm going to move stuff around, so not necessarily ideal either. So really, the problem I have here is I had a good break shot, but my cue ball went too far. If it was here, I would have been golden. This table would have already been finished and in the bag by now. Now, a little different, right? So I'm not 100% convinced on this one, simply because I don't have a good shot to start with on the stripes. Let's look at the solid. So 4 is perfect. I mean, it's a great, easy shot to get started. The 8 is there, so it won't be too much of an issue. Ideally, I would have liked to have it for the 8, but we can see what we can start with else. 2 goes, 3 goes in the corner, not a big deal. Good, easy ball. 5 goes here, pretty simple. So really, the only problem I have here is that 6-1. So, well, there's no just right and wrong. I mean, you kind of have to know how you feel, how it is on the day off. The problem with this here is if I got to make the 6 directly here, I got to be right there on my cue ball. Very difficult. I could go from the 5, try to land here. That could work. Or I have to play a combo 6-1 here, but the long distance is something you want to avoid as much as possible. This is a valid table, so the pockets are pretty big, but it is still a very dangerous combo. On top of that, that combo, when I hit the 6, is going to move out of the way. Here is the 6, and we don't really know what we're going to get, right? So, here comes the difficult choice, I suppose. So we opened the table, we broke. It's a good break, decent break, not perfect, but decent. We have options. I like the stripes, but I don't have a good shot to get started with. And this is one of the mistakes I see from 6s, especially 5 and 6s, is they know that this is the ball category to take. The shot is difficult, they miss it, and then it'll be wide open for the opponents. In this case, we wanted the stripes. The only decent shot on the stripes is a 13, and the 13 brings us here, which is no good. So we can't go for the stripe, and that's what it is. What it is. We got to come to terms with that. So we change our position here, and we're going with the hardest of the balls here because we got a better shot on the 4. So here, cue ball into the 4. We're going to try to aim to get into the 5 as straight as possible. Move the 5 in there, and then clear 6-1, then 3-2-8 or 2-3-8, right? So it's more difficult, more complicated of a layout, but at least we keep the table. We have the table at hand. I'm in control, and this is basically up to me and my skills rather than luck or my opponent's, who knows, whatever happens after if I miss the first shot. So let's get going with the 4 here and see what happens. All right, so 4 is good. 5 is down. And we're going to stop for a second here because this is what's important now. So in 2 balls, and I talked about it earlier, I cleared my problem basically, all right? This was harder to do. It wasn't perfect, but I got it. I was right in the line. Now I've got a good shot. I'm perfect for the 6, right? And then from the 6, I got the 1, and then I can actually finish the last 2 balls here. So now difficulty is changing a little bit. So now I know I'm going to clear this problem. We've got to switch focus. My focus now is going to be 3-2 into the 8 ball, right? Because any bad shot here, now I'm going to be stuck because I had to take that 4 ball. Is it impossible? No, it's very possible. We just got to slow down a little bit. Make sure you go on that side of the table, look at it, get the right angle, and from there, find the way to finish it. So let's start here with the 6 ball again and get it out of the way. All right, so this is it basically, huh? So we got exactly what we needed. We cleared the layout. I'm on the last ball before the 8 ball. Unfortunately, I landed a little bit close to the 2. It could have been a little better this way. It's okay. The problem now is I really, really have to focus. I only have 1 good shot here to make. The 2 is easy to make, not a big deal, but I got to play shape for the 8. And unfortunately, because the way the layout was, I had to take that 4 ball first, which was my ball before the 8 ball. It's just the way it is, so I just got to come up with something. So I really have to look at this 2 ball here, make sure I decide which way to go. I mean, I could go here, and go this way. This is a lot of traffic. I don't think I like it too much. I could go back. There's the hole here, so it's a little bit difficult. We would have to land perfect there as well. Sometimes you just got to pick your poison. There is not, in this case here, there really isn't a great shot. So we're going to try. Maybe I can even go in between those here. Let it roll there. Yeah, sometimes, it is what it is. Now, obviously, I'm not perfect. I could have been here. Would have been a lot easier. Regardless, though, it is still a tough shot. A lot of traffic on the table. We got to do what we got to do. So I'm going to go out there and pretty much shoot it the way I think it will go. And then we're going to go from there. Okay, that's acceptable. I'm pretty happy with that. I was hoping to catch the outside of the 13 a little bit more to let my cue ball roll more here. But that is the kind of stuff you have to deal with. I avoided the traffic here. I didn't get to, my worry was to actually going to take the 9 ball, get stuck here, have no shots. This case here, I got a full shot. I can make it on the left here. Not an issue at all. I think this is a pretty nice table, pretty well analyzed. We didn't have any issue. We got exactly what we wanted to do. A little bit of a, on the 2, not as good. But, other than that, pretty much dead perfect. So here we go. I know it's, you know what? Let's mark it. Here we go. I want to mark the pocket, guys. That way we know. Here, guys, that's how you run a table, like a 7 rather than a 6. All right, so let's break a rack of 9 ball. So the break itself, I like to start from the cue ball about a chalk away, maybe a chalk and a half away. Trying to hit into the 1 ball. Try to make the wing shot, the wing ball here, which is the 6. But because it is not magic rack, it is not a perfect rack, so we might not. Either way, you're going to hit it hard. It pockets pretty well on this table. Just try to keep this cue ball in the middle and see what we get. Hopefully the cue ball doesn't get kicked either. All right, we can start with that. That's not bad. So we got our wing balls in. That's actually the only ball that went in. The 1 is going to go there. We're pretty good. The 2 is going to go in this way. Could go in the side, but not recommended. We should have a pretty good angle here. 2 rails into the 2. From the 2 to the 3, I don't see much of an issue. 3 to 4, we can either make the 4 here or there. So the bigger problem we might have is, so the 5 doesn't go in that corner. It does go very well in this corner, however, which is good. And now this is pretty much the bigger problem. So if we're in there, the 7 quite doesn't go in that corner, so we're really going to have to be perfectly here. And then the next final problem is really shape from 7 to 8, 8 to 9. So not a super easy table, not the hardest in the world, but you do have to pay attention. So what we're going to do is we're going to run one by one, see what happens, and from there we can kind of judge a little bit ball by ball if you need to change plan or if you don't. Keep in mind in pool, you have the perfect plan, you have the perfect layout. Most of the time, you're never going to land perfectly where you want to, so you got to change the layout, and you cannot be afraid to do so. As you can see, layout already different a little bit. So I touched a piece of the 3 ball. Not a lot, but just enough that instead of going perfectly here the way I wanted, I moved the 3 ball in the way. Is it bad? No, it's actually not that bad. I'm still okay. So now I change plan. I still could go and make the 2 in the corner. Do I really want to? No, because my 2 ball works pretty good in the center here. So I'll just do that. Leave myself a little angle from the 3. 3 to 4 should still be the same. All right, so this is exactly according to plan here. Gonna go higher, middle of the table a little bit. That's fine, but again, not perfect. Now, in the perfect world, I want it to be like right here, little draw, get it there. It's not perfect. Is it bad? No, it's more than acceptable. I still know I gotta be in this side. I cannot be there. That would be too difficult, and we know it doesn't go here, so I definitely don't want to be there for this. So from there, I'm just gonna put it a little bit of a pace and only slide down there. Just gotta be careful because that is a little bit of a dangerous shot. And remember, we need a little bit of an angle this way to go into the 7 there. All right, and now the mistake happened. So I slid my ball slightly too much. I'm about, let's say 2 balls away from perfect target. So now, plan changed. Again, don't be afraid. The plan is changing. We're not playing perfect. Life is not about playing perfect in pool anyway. It's just, it happens. It is the sort of stuff that is always happening. So 5 still goes there. We're still in the perfect zone. We know our 7 only goes here, doesn't go here. Actually, it does it. We could go because now we have a different angle. No, it doesn't go. Now we have to go back this way. So instead of playing just a simple shot and slide it this way, we're just going to go forward and back, and it should be just fine. All right, so that shot was pretty good, but if you look at the 7, now we have something that happens quite a lot in pool. You are dead straight, and on top of that, I'm on the rail. So this is just a little bit unlucky. Again, not a lot you can do. You got to deal with the elements. You got to deal with the card that's been given to you, right? So we know the 7 goes here. We still have shape. There's no need to panic. Instead of being perfect for the 8, I'm just going to stay a little further out and get myself a tougher shot on the 8. It's okay. As long as I have the angle, we should be all good. So let's just focus on making the 7, see what happens. All right, so as expected, tough shot on the 7. I hit it. My ball was so straight I couldn't really move it too much. I mean, this would have been probably better, but again, it's acceptable. I got the angle from the cue ball to the 8 ball, so I'm all good. Now I just got to make sure I look at this 8 ball and decide, do I go 3 rail up like this, or do I go back down? Let me see here, 1 rail in there, or even 2 rails in there. Sort of depends. Of what you prefer. Some people prefer to hit follow. Some people prefer to hit draw. Either way kind of works, as long as you make sure you know what you're doing. Avoid the side pockets. Avoid the corner pocket if you're doing follow. From there, really, the 9 ball is in a pretty good spot. We're going to make it here or there, one of the 2 corners at the bottom. And even if you overrun position, you might still have a bank shot somewhere. So really, focus on making the 8. Get sort of whatever comes your way after you decide if you want to go here or there. All right, and here we go. I hit that pretty well. I hit it slightly too thin. I think my cue ball went 2 rails here. Could have went there, would have been a little safer. I'm still good. I did exactly what I was supposed to do. My zone is really big, and I got an easy shot on the 9 here. Nine ball is made. Here's my take on it, right? So as you can see, not every shot were perfect. Like it's not that I'm missing a ball, but I'm not going perfectly every time. And the higher level the player is going to be, the more they're going to be perfect. But it's just habits and it's work. Now, when you're just trying to go from a 6 to a 7, it doesn't take perfection at all. So you got to forget about perfection. Don't get hurt with it. Don't get angry with it because you didn't reach the perfect spot you wanted on the cue ball. You're playing zones, right? You got to pick the right zone. Pick the larger zone you have. I'm always picking a zone. Did I make the perfect shot? Not necessarily. A couple times, I hit the 3. Sure, it wasn't that good, but I was in my zone. Then I think it was on this ball out here, but it was the 5. I wasn't perfect, but I was in the zone. Same thing for the 8 ball. I was far, and I had more distance, but I was still in the good zone. So because I played in the right zone, I was able to still come up with a solution and run out the rack anyway. So remember that, going from a 6 to a 7, it's not about perfection. It's about taking what you have, dealing with it, and making compromise. In general, life is all about compromise, and I think there's no difference on a pool table. As a 6, your skill set is already there. You're going to know all the shots, and as long as you focus, pick the right option, pick the right zone, you got all the cards in your hand to run out and actually go to a higher skill level. As in the previous lessons, we're going to talk now some more about other random key pointers, I would say. Obviously, pattern play is very important, but I would say if I got to start with something is think ahead. Offense or defense, both can win the game. Never underestimate one, right? Next thing is don't go for everything. Now, because you've got the skill to make any ball on the table, doesn't mean you're going to get shape on the ball, and then you might be, completely stuck. So, before this happens, make sure you analyze the table really well. Like in the example we just had, we didn't really have anything to, open as far as cluster go. We didn't really have to play safety. I played very offensive. But, if it does come into play, don't hesitate to play the right shot because all it does is really just delay your next turn to the table as long as you do it right. So which is really good. Next thing, we just spoke about cluster. Open your clusters early if you don't have a choice. Again, we didn't really have that in these situations, but it will come in games, especially for people in A-ball breaking from the second ball. It has a tendency to cluster a lot. So if you do not feel like the table is going to be easy, at least you want to try a little bit, try early. Don't leave your problems till the end because on the end, when you only have like one ball to be made that's easy and a bunch of clusters, that's going to be a problem. So open your problems early, make sure you get rid of it, and then move on to the next thing. Next I have, in my opinion, as far as an advice goes, is when you try to go to higher skill level play, you're not really playing the opponent anymore. You're playing the opponent, of course, like, you can be intimidated because this guy is dead. Maybe this guy's the MVP of your league. It doesn't really matter though. At the end of the day, you're playing the table. So you see the open table, you see the layout, you know that as a 6 or more, you got a chance to run out. So look at every element, try to run the table just because it is a pool table and not your opponent. It is all in here, it's mental game. Technically, I think the higher level you go, the more pool becomes chess, and the more really chess is all about layout more than execution as well. So because again, now you have the skill set necessary to run every table. So play the table, not your opponent. Don't get scared if somebody's better than you. As long as the table is open and you have options, pick the right option, you will win. Last point is forget about the pressure of running multiple balls without missing. I don't know, it sounds funny, but most sixes, they're not really used to run racks after racks after racks. So they're going to run 4 balls, 5 balls, 6 balls, and then they're going to come to the 6th or the 7th ball right before the 8th ball. And sometimes they kind of butcher just an easy shot because they have the pressure of having made too many balls in a row without missing, and they think it's not normal. So get this out of your way. It is normal to not miss after a certain point. If the table is open, the shots are doable, then don't miss. It shouldn't matter that it's the 1st ball or the 7th ball right before the 8th ball. So just get this out of your brain, and this will go naturally. You'll take it to the next level and become the highest skill level we have in APA. This is our drill for this lessons. It's an 11-ball drill, if I'm correct. So we're going to have the 5-ball set up exactly the half diamond mark. 8-ball, same thing, half and half. The 7-ball here is exactly on the 2x1 mark. And then we have the 9-2 or whatever balls. The balls don't matter. I'm just calling them by numbers. They're frozen to each other, frozen to the 7. 6, dead in the middle of the table right here. Then we repeat the process with what we have is 10, 13, 1, and then again the 3 in the half and half, and the 4 in the half and half mark. So the goal is simply with ball in hand to start, open the cluster as early as possible, run the balls, any pocket, any order. If you miss during the process, unfortunately you got to restart from the very beginning. And what this drill does, it encompasses everything we talk about as far as pattern play, opening your clusters pretty early, and try to deal with something that is not necessarily planned for. So a great drill, and really something that's going to teach you to become a better run-out player. I want to start here is top right, try to open that cluster. And there you go. That's how I execute the drill. Now, obviously, as you can see, I opened my cluster right away. This one was the 8-ball, perfect. I got a little fortunate. I had an angle to open from the 6-ball that was here in the middle, my second cluster right away, so I didn't wait for it because I wanted to keep those balls kind of like an insurance ball, right? You can see those balls in the corner, except you're using them to open the cluster. They are your insurance balls. They're always there. They're easy balls. So I opened my first cluster as the first ball, opened my second cluster as the second ball. From there, everything was wide open. I just had to run the balls. I think I had a little bit of a mistake somewhere here, created a mini cluster here, but I was able to clear it because everything was going, and the rest is pretty much textbook. Just got to make the balls, stay focused, and here you go, run the table out. Alright guys, this is it. This was the last episode of this series. We truly appreciate you joining us in this journey, wherever you actually started it. On my side, I hope you took away a lot of pointers and are really able to use those to take your game to the next level. On this note, see you later guys.